Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition to the Extra Point. I'm here with Zach and Callie, two of my buddies. I see you guys made it through last weekend's game without any black eyes or anything. So
No,
Yeah,
well,
or at least
I put my money on Callie.
well, thanks. He was actually on the field and I was up in a booth. So
So you had to
it
put some
helped.
distance in between.
The distance helped.
I'm talking about last week's big game. Franklin County beat Tullahoma 49-42. I think, Zach, that's one of the picks you got right.
Sadly.
Yeah.
One of the times it went against you.
Yeah, but we're going to break down the game, and we're going to do it in two different ways because I think it was almost like to tell the two different halves a little bit.
Yeah.
Zach, Callie, why don't you break down the first half? What happened to Tullahoma? I think they wound up in a hole or something, didn't they?
Well, they didn't get, Tullahoma, it seems like so far this year, first half has not been their friend. They're like a diesel engine. It takes them a while to get kind of warmed up. That was the case Friday night. We jumped out to a 2 or 3 touchdown. No, 4 touchdown. No, three.
Touchdowns.
He was 28-6 at the half. This year, Franklin County's calling card has kind of been running the clock, and they did that very well the first half. They were very consistent and just keeping that ball just slowly, methodically driving it down the field. And that's what, jumped them off to a good lead. Second half, I think they kind of continued that, but Tullahoma also adjusted, which I figured they would if they were smart. It was a great ball game. If you could have made it out to a ball game this year, that was one to watch.
Well, what happened? I heard that, they rushed for quite a few yards, maybe 300, and one of the players, five TDs.
Yeah.
What did Tullahoma do there to get themselves in the hole, Zach?
Well, in the first half, they turned the ball over twice, and that's what really hurt Tullahoma, including a pick six just before halftime. That was essentially it ended up being the backbreaker in a 7-point game. But they made the adjustments on offense in the second half, ended up scoring right off the gate, and then ended up getting a defensive stop in the second half. Man, they weren't able to slow down Jarius Johnson on the night. He had, I think, 232 yards and 5 touchdowns on the night. They just were not able to get the key crucial stops whenever they needed them. Every time you would think Tullahoma was about to get off the field, nope, Jarius Johnson runs for a 49-yard touchdown. Yeah. Okay, you go score again late in the fourth quarter. Okay, we need to stop here, Again, Jarius Johnson breaks loose for another 49-yard game. So they've got to get better on the defensive end because and this is what Coach was addressing to me after the game. Before heading into this game, they were giving up 515 yards per game on defense. And amazingly, we're 2-1 on the season. Now you're 2-2, but you still give up 410 yards Franklin County had on the night. So you got to slow down.
Well, I guess Franklin County now has bragging rights for the next year.
Yeah, they do, of course, but they don't have a region win yet. So, while they are 3-1 on the season, they don't have a region win, and that's where it counts most. And, they go up against White County this week, who is in the region, and so hopefully they can get a win out of those. Those guys also they have winning games on the season, but they're also looking for their first region win.
Well, we'll talk about this week's games in just a minute. To move on, Moore County beat Canning County. That's a good win.
It is, yeah.
Coffee County was on a bye last week. Lincoln County won last week. Fayetteville, that's a tough team.
They're 4-0 on the season,
and they've got a big game coming up. Shelbyville won. Grundy County lost, and Hunting lost. So it wasn't like last week where we had losses across the board.
Yeah.
At least we had some local teams out there get some wins. Let's talk about this week's games, and then we'll talk about maybe what you think is going to happen. Warren County at Coffee County. Can Coffee County get that win this week?
If they're going to get a win this season, this is going to be this game. Warren County is still trying to find themselves exactly. Obviously, a little bit better improved from what I've heard. I was talking to Shelbyville's
Warren County. Who did Warren County lose to earlier in the year?
I'm not exactly sure who they lost to, but if this is a Coffee County, if they're going to win a game, this is going to be it. I think having that week off will help get them in check a little bit. You're 0-3 coming off from a bad loss against Blackman and against your rival Tullahoma. It's a way to get your head checked. So I think Coffee County will be able to get a win in this game if I'm predicting the game.
All right. White County is coming to Franklin County.
Yeah, I think this is homecoming for us. Again, White County is 0-4 on the season. Franklin County 3-1. I think this is a win for Franklin County. But they need to play their 4 quarters of ball like they've been doing. They don't need to, because White County needs a region win too. So, but I think Franklin County takes this one home.
Okay, Tullahoma at Spring Hill.
Yeah,
Get back into the winning column.
This is going to be a tough one. Spring Hill is ranked number 8 in the state in the Class 4A standings or rankings, and it's going to be just a tough one for Tullahoma. They cannot start slow. That was what Coach challenged them to do after that game. You cannot start slow. Now the other question mark too is, in all that game against Franklin County, they didn't have their electric playmaker with them. Amari Burks was not on the field for that entire game. So now the question mark is Amari going to be ready to play against Spring Hill? And that's an issue that we don't know. We won't know probably until game time whether or not he will be back on the field. And if he is back on the field, is he going to be at 100%?
Okay, let's move on to this will probably be a big game actually for our area. Fayetteville at Moore County this week.
Yeah, it'll be a great game. Moore County 3-1 on the season. Fayetteville's undefeated. It'll be a good game. I think Fayetteville pulls the win though.
Fayetteville's a pretty good team. I haven't seen them, but I keep up with kind of what's going on because of that ultimate football game.
Yeah.
Fayetteville has beaten 4A schools. That's impressive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
This year.
Yeah, so that's impressive. So, other games of interest in our area: Grundy County at DeKalb County, Joe Burns at Huntland. I don't think Huntland's won a game this year. So
they're 0-4 on the season.
Yes, hopefully Huntley can get off the schneid. And Shelbyville at Lincoln County. That'll also be an interesting.
This is going to be the game of the week in the area.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, talking about the local sports, is there anybody you want to shout out to locally? Be it volleyball or bowling or whatever's going on.
Yeah, I got a couple of shout outs actually. I want to give a shout out to the middle school football team who ended up, the Tullahoma middle school football team who ended up going to Warren County yesterday and winning 22-6. That was a pretty good win, moves them to 5-0 on the season. Just bodes well for the future of Tullahoma football in the area. And then I also want to give a shout out to the volleyball team who had a clean sweep over Marshall County yesterday. So good to get back in the win column for those girls. And they'll host Coffee County tonight starting at 5 o'clock.
Sounds good. Let's, I guess, move on to our picks from last week. What do you guys think about that? I wound up going 4-3. Callie 3-4. Zach 5-2.
Yeah.
Zach's trying to get back onto the. Overall, now I'm 8-5. Callie, you're 7-6, and Zach, you are 8-5. So you caught up to me.
First.
Yeah.
Let's talk real quick about some of the picks. Which you guys or Zach, you actually picked Ohio State to win last week, and that was one of yours. Callie and I actually picked Oklahoma. Ohio State lost to Oklahoma. What about that one?
I was happy to have that one be a loss in my column. Me being the pessimist, I was going for Ohio State.
Well, they didn't just beat them, though.
They
beat them
pretty good. The first half, the problem was Oklahoma couldn't find the end zone. Second half, though, it just seems like the end zone just opened up for Oklahoma. I keep saying Tullahoma for Oklahoma, and that was impressive. And man, they whooped them pretty good.
Yeah.
Can't say it any other way.
Auburn lost to Clemson, but it was pretty close.
It was a very close game. All those games were very close games, except for the MTSU.
It was a close game, but God, did you guys watch this game at all?
I watched the majority
Clemson's
of it.
Defense was impressive. I don't know if y'all saw the final numbers. 11 total sacks.
Yeah.
For some perspective, that hasn't been done in a Gus Malzahn era, and it's taken him quite a while for teams to rack up 11 sacks in a season against Auburn.
Yeah.
So Clemson's defense is pretty nasty. I will give you that. The offense still needs to find itself.
Yeah. Georgia goes to South Bend and beats Notre Dame.
Of course
Barely.
they do. They barely do, but I knew that was
Well,
good.
but they had their backup quarterback, right? So,
I don't think they utilized their running backs as much as I think they should have. Because every time Michelle and Chubb got the ball, they took off. So I don't feel like they were utilized as much. But I figured Georgia would pull it out there at the end.
yeah, I saw an interesting stat on TV the other day. MTSU got paid $1 million to go play Syracuse.
Nice.
And So Syracuse
And they
paid
beat
them. So
'em.
Syracuse paid them $1 million for MTSU
For a loss.
to go to Syracuse and beat them. But I think it bodes well for the program. They didn't start out very good against Vandy.
No,
And
and it
we're
kills
gonna-
me that they lost to Vanderbilt but beat Syracuse.
Well, and we're going to talk about the Vandy game here in a minute because it's one of our picks. But wanted to give a shout out to MTSU. I think they've got a good
Absolutely.
program. That's a big win for them. And I think we'll break down that MTSU Vandy game in a minute when we talk about our picks coming up. Let's get to this week's picks. There's not quite as much going on in college football as there has been the past 2 weeks, but we still have some important, interesting games. Our first game of the week, and I didn't bring a pencil. So
Well, good thing I did.
Yeah. Our first game that we're going to talk about is Kentucky at South Carolina because Kentucky's winning, but
Barely.
can they go to South Carolina and win? Zach, what do you think?
I say no. I say South Carolina wins this one. South Carolina showed a lot during its week 1 win, and Kentucky struggled last week against Eastern Kentucky. So I'm going with South Carolina in this one. First game.
Yeah, I hate to even go for South Carolina, but they'll pull this one off because they're at home.
Well, I think being at home, I like you said, Kentucky struggled with Eastern Kentucky last week. I think I have to go with South Carolina.
Yeah.
This is going to be an interesting game because this is like defense versus offense in this game. So Clemson, who has this fabulous defense, against Louisville, who has a fabulous offense. Callie, who do you think is going to win that game?
I think it's hard. Yeah.
Should I go to Zach?
Yeah, go to Zach real quick.
All right, Zach, you've always got something to say.
Yeah, I think this one is going to go to Louisville. I think they've been licking their chops a little bit since last year's loss at Clemson. And it was a close game last year, and that Clemson team ended up going to win the national championship. But they want the revenge. They're at home this year. They got the reigning Heisman candidate. I want Louisville. I think Louisville wins this one.
Yeah,
And a close
I'll
one.
take Louisville as well.
I think I like Louisville because of everything that Zach was talking about. My only problem is Louisville seems to struggle on defense.
Yeah.
But
Clemson's offense hasn't been showing a whole bunch.
I would agree. I think it's going to be a close one, but I'm going to go with Louisville, and it'll be probably less than a field goal, I think. And it may come down to who just has the ball last.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, and I'm assuming when I was picking this that this game is going to happen because of all the devastation that's happened in Florida. But since it's at Tallahassee, Miami at FSU, I'm assuming this game is going to take
I know
place.
all the Florida games are going to go going on.
So, you want to start this one this time?
Sure. I think FSU takes the home win. I think it'll be a close game. This is a big rival game. There's no love lost between these two teams, but I think FSU pulls it out there at the end.
See, I think this is where Mark Richt gets his signature win on
Really?
the season. I think FSU still trying to find itself offensively after
Especially
losing
after
a starting
losing
quarterback.
quarterback,
So
I
I think
just
this
don't think
is
you're
perfect.
out because of that. I think.
Well, I'm going to say something on my pick, and then you two, some of our older viewers may understand it, and we'll see if you know which way I'm going. Wide right.
I know which way you're going.
Which way am I going?
I'll let you tell everybody which way you're going.
I'm
You're
going
going to
Miami.
Miami. Yep.
Yep, wide right. Because for about 3 years, wide right was FSU's Achilles. So I'm going to go with Mark Richt getting a big win on the road at FSU, and we'll see. Before we go move to our big game, I think, in college football, let's talk Kansas State at Vandy. Because if you'd asked me a week ago or even 2 weeks ago, with Kansas State coming in being ranked, who's going to win that game, I would have said Kansas State's most likely going to win that game. Vandy plays a tough defense, but Vandy's looked pretty good this year.
Yeah, I mean, they held.
They beat MTSU.
They did beat MTSU.
They didn't just beat them. They beat them pretty good.
Yeah, but I think Webb was held last week to only less than 100 yards of rushing.
Well, but look who they were playing.
Yeah, I think Kansas State comes in and wins this. I think Vandy is Vandy at the end of the day, and I think Kansas State will come in and take care of it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really, really close game, but I'm still going with Kansas State. I think Kansas State's just a better team all around.
I think so too. I think this would be a very big signature win.
Oh, it would.
Yeah, it'd be huge.
for Derek Mason. And, I'm going to go actually for the home team. As weird as that may sound, I'm going for Vandy.
I think all of me and Zach's picks, except for one of you, the same.
Yeah, that would be scary, Zach.
Yeah, that would be scary. Kind of worried.
Let's talk LSU at Mississippi State. Of course, Mississippi State hadn't lost yet. LSU hadn't, but Zach, what do you think?
I think
no love lost.
No love lost. I think this is going to be a win for LSU. I like them playing hard for Ed Orgeron, trying to end his first season down there. I think this would be a good win. So I'm going LSU.
I will as well. I just think that they're, like he said, they're playing hard for Orgeron this year, and.
Well, I brought my cowbell.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
No, you did. That's what I say.
I'm going for LSU as well on that one because until Mississippi State just gets out there and plays somebody rough, it's hard to really determine how good they are. All right, the biggest game of the week, which we thought, I was like, well, maybe it'll get moved somewhere.
Lord, how I prayed that it would.
I'd be okay to drain the swamp there. I can promise you that. UT at Florida. We'll get Zally to start this.
Zally. That's our team name.
Callie, why don't you start this one?
I got to go with UT. I think, and I really always get and I'm so nervous about this game, just sick over it, but I think that we can beat these guys. Offensively, there is nothing there. Had they not had those 2 pick sixes against Michigan, I don't think their offense would have scored a touchdown. So if we play 4 quarters of ball, if we don't play this, let's mess around in the first half and get going in the second half, then I think we have a really good chance of beating them. If we can get over that, it's Florida Gainesville hump. They're just a team just like we are. And it is at Gainesville, which makes it really super hard. But I got to go for UT.
All right, Zach, what do you think?
I'm smiling because I can't believe that me and Callie are almost going to have identical picks this week because I'm going with Tennessee as well in this one. I think if they don't turn the ball over and play clean, then I think this will be a win for Tennessee. Florida, as you mentioned, hasn't shown anything offensively at all. And I think Tennessee has.
And it doesn't help them that they didn't get to play last week.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you're also missing Scarlett and Antonio Callaway, and I'm almost certain those guys won't be back for this game. And those guys weren't even able to practice with the team. So even if they were to come back, they wouldn't have had the practice time.
Well, with that being said, I kind of agree with you. I think it would have actually benefited Florida to be able to play a game to get kind of some offense moving and get everything underneath them a little bit. But without that extra game and that, probably missed some practice as well with the Hurricane Irma, and our hearts go out to everybody in Florida, even though we don't like the Gators. I'm going with UT.
Well, if we won't beat Alabama, we won't beat LSU. We'll be lucky to sneak by Georgia if that all that happens. We just won't. I just don't think we just have. Well, we can beat Florida. There is no reason. You hear me? Butch Jones somehow gets a hold of this. There's no reason we should lose to Florida.
This is a building block for your season. If you beat Florida, then
you
have momentum going into that Georgia game. Now you think you can win. It's just like you get a good team to have and you have a chance to win. Your team, hey, we're in this, So,
well, real quick before we shout out to the Titans, thank you, Cody and Carmen. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you like what you're wearing.
Cody and Carmen like your polo.
Yes.
Anyway, let's talk Titans football. You guys were on the Titans bandwagon.
And look where it got us.
And I said that the Titans were going to lose, and they lost to Oakland.
Yeah.
In typical Titan fashion. Let's talk a couple of things. Number one, what happened? Number two, is it still the same old Titans? And what's next? I don't care that they did the onside kicks to start the season out.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it was a good way to start the season. It
caught them off guard.
Yeah.
It caught them off guard. They just didn't get it. So I thought it was kind of tricky. I still see some of the same old Titans, though.
I don't at all. Whenever you look at this team, you got to remember who they were facing. Oakland is going to win the AFC West. There's no doubt about it. So I think they just ran up against a good team, and they should. I mean, they showed enough in this game, and I think you were talking about it earlier before we hopped on. The stats were almost identical to that. The only thing that told the story was Tennessee not being able to capitalize in the red zone. Had they been able to put up touchdowns instead of field goals, this game could have gone a completely different way.
Well, but I
Yeah.
also remember there was a few dropping balls by Oakland that would have continued drive, so it could have
Yeah,
gotten
those
ugly.
wideouts and those receivers out there. I mean, you had 5 different targets that Derek Carr can go to. Those receivers are so experienced that
I think they're still in Titans' defense or secondary is still a little, scary.
yeah, but I mean, they held their own against a really good Oakland football team, and for a lot of that game, it was a field goal game. So it wasn't just like Oakland just came in there and just blew them out. No, not at all.
Did you get the chance to watch the game?
No, I just NFL. I have so much time on Saturday freaking out about college. NFL just on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's y'all's baby.
Well, and I don't really watch a whole lot of NFL, but I do fantasy football, so I like to kind of,
Oh,
watch
yeah.
the clicker. But anyway, what about Adoree Jackson's kickoff return? You were there.
Yeah, I was there.
So
That
the
was
crowd got fired up for that one.
They did, especially whenever he tried to hurdle that Raiders opponent, which I just missed getting a photo of. But no, that was a fun little.
He took off and actually landed about 8 to 10 yards from the jump. So yeah, that was a very interesting play. I was actually hoping that was the point that was going to fire the team up and get them back.
Yeah,
Again, but
you just got to get touchdowns instead of field goals. And that's what Mariota addressed.
well, and I thought there was a couple of things that kind of, Mariota in the getting down to the crunch time, he just needed to get 5-10 more yards even, and he threw it 25 down the road, down the field for a potential. It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
But he's still got some growing up he's got to do.
Yeah, and in the
He could have took off with his legs a few times.
Yeah, and in the grand scheme of things, this is one game. You got 15 left to go.
Exactly.
So,
So a lot of football to be played.
But we're 0-1.
0-1 right now, and actually, well, we'll bring it up. We're talking about next week, or this coming week. So.
All right, yeah, we're going to talk about that. So what's next for the Titans? They have to go to Jacksonville. It looks like that game's going to be played at Jacksonville. I think that everything's going to be okay. They had a lot of flooding there. So just real quick, who do you think is going to win?
Jacksonville.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is going to be actually.
Jacksonville played a lot better.
Jacksonville played a lot better.
They've got a lot of talent.
Houston's struggling with trying to find a quarterback. I actually think these are going to be the top 2 teams in the AFC South. I think Houston, with its question marks, and Indianapolis just getting shellacked by the LA Rams, which is pretty inexcusable. Just shows you how much of a mess that quarterback situation is in Indianapolis. I think Titans will win this one. I think they need that.
Well, they have the revenge factor.
Exactly. That's what I was going to go with. The revenge factor from last year. Titans obviously had a chance to make the playoffs, but in the Mariota breaking his leg and Titans not being able to come back in that one. So they got the revenge factor going into that one a little bit. So I like the Titans in this one.
I like the Titans, but I'm going to tell you, don't underestimate Jacksonville's biggest problem is the quarterback.
Yeah, and he played well last week.
But they have a lot of talent on that team. They really do. So I think the Titans can win it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville did win it. If the Titans wind up being 0-2 to start the season, then you got to start worrying.
Yeah, then you got to start worrying.
But anyway, with that being said, I think we're about done for the day. Callie, you can always reach Callie at
on Twitter, NewsGal27.
Or me on Twitter as well, at Zach Birdsong, no spaces in between.
You can always give us a call up here at the Tullahoma News. If there's any topic you'd like for us to talk about or a team you'd like us to talk more about, let us know, and we'll more than gladly do that for you. Thanks, everybody, for reaching out to us. We hope you had a good day. Talk to you later.
Thanks.